Hello, and thank you for joining in to watch this video on Quay Valley, a sustainable development in rural California. Quay Valley. Where is Quay Valley located? It's in Kings County in the Central Valley of California. It's about halfway between San Francisco and Los Angeles along the I-5. It's about 3 hours from either one of those cities. It's currently a rural agricultural region, and Quay Valley consists of 7,200 acres, primarily grazing land. Who's developing Quay Valley? The primary developer is Key Hayes. He's the CEO of Grow Holdings. He has a past experience as a serial entrepreneur, real estate development, film, finance, and publishing. And recently he's been joined by John Lash, who's the Chief Operating Officer and President of Grow Holdings. John Lash has a long history as a community master developer. In the past, he was the Vice President and the COO of Pardee Homes, which is a leading developer of large master-planned communities. So a little bit about Grow Holdings, LLC. GROW, first of all, stands for Green, Renewable, Organic, and Water. The company is based in Los Angeles, and it was formed to develop and promote green projects and technology, renewable energy, organic farming, and water resources. It's been involved with several renewable energy initiatives in California and has a large focus on solar power. What is Quay Valley? Quay Valley is a new sustainable city for the 21st century based on principles of smart growth, sustainability, environmental responsibility, new urbanism, and new ruralism. The plan for Quay Valley is for there to be about 75,000 new residents living there when the city is developed, in approximately 25,000 new homes. There will be about 200 acres of lakes and waterways. There will be a commercial and entertainment development area along the highway. There's 5 miles of highway frontage on the I-5. They're estimating about 25,000 new jobs, maybe more, and a major focus again on solar power so that the housing, it's said, will not have an electric bill. A little bit about New Ruralism. New Ruralism is a framework for creating a bridge between sustainable agriculture and new urbanism. Sustainable agriculture can help bring cities down to earth and to deeper commitment to the ecology and economy of the surrounding countryside on which the cities depend. This is by Sabella Kraus in A Call for New Ruralism. And again, the principles of new urbanism, 10 key principles are walkability, connectivity, so the parts of the development are tied together and connected, mixed use and diversity of all kinds, mixed housing, quality architecture and urban design, traditional neighborhood structures, increased density, green transportation, sustainability, and quality of life. And looking at smart growth is an approach to development that supports local economies while protecting the environment. It's urban planning where housing and transportation choices are located near jobs, shops, and schools. So these are some of the priorities that Quay Valley is being based upon. Quay Valley's sustainable design. Quay Valley's literature talks about nature being incorporated into daily life. It talks about groundbreaking water and energy technologies being utilized, as well as model water conservation and reuse. There's an extensive plan for photovoltaic solar capacity in energy-efficient homes and businesses throughout the development, and large-scale solar generating stations as well. It also is a design that encourages walking and biking with low-impact mass transit. Quay Valley Plan. This is a map of the plan from their materials showing various land uses and densities, with the yellow being the lowest density and the red being the higher density. And various kinds of development, hospital, research park, parks, agricultural buffer zones, waterways, and the URL is there. If you have trouble making out the details of this map, please feel free to use this URL to see it in more detail online. Quay Valley's neighborhoods. Quay Valley's literature talks about neighborhoods based on the principles that we just mentioned previously, but they encourage community, high density development with lots of open space, walkable, bikeable communities, community that incorporates nature. The housing is to be modern and affordable with very high energy efficiency, with a diversity of housing from entry-level housing to luxurious. Housing will be centered in village-type settings with town centers and the Main Street concept. Again, open space, plazas, and many public facilities. It's estimated that the median home price will be $276,000, which is substantially lower than the California median, which is $415,000. Jobs. As I said, it's estimated that there'll be at least 25,000 new jobs created by this development in business, retail, hospitality, recreation, and commercial districts that will be along the 5 miles of Interstate 5. Also through the sustainable permanent agriculture. There's already extensive agriculture, which I'll talk about in a moment. And there'll be jobs related to agriculture. A research park, educational institutions, medical complex, and a central distribution hub. All of these being various ways that jobs will be created. So what about Kings County, where this is located? Kings County is a major agricultural producer in California. It's ranked 8th as a county in the state for agricultural production. The top commodity is milk at $7 million, over $7 million per year. Almonds are also a major production source there, with as well as other nuts. Almonds alone make up about $166 million a year. And overall, the agricultural crops and products of Kings County equal over $2 billion a year. And there's a photo there of some lovely almond trees. Transportation. As I mentioned, Quay Valley is planned to be a walkable and bikeable development. There'll be alternative mass transit through electric vehicles and alternative fuel vehicles. And most recently, an agreement has been made to develop Hyperloop at Quay Valley. So what's Hyperloop? Well, in case you're not familiar with this, it's a new form of transportation first described by inventor Elon Musk in 2013. Here's Elon over here on the right in a rather humorous rendition describing Elon. It says Elon wanted a new payment method on the internet, so he created PayPal. Elon wanted to drive an electric car, so he founded Tesla Motors. Elon wanted to go to space cheaper, so he created SpaceX. Elon wanted faster transportation, so he developed Hyperloop. Elon does not tell everyone how bad the world is. Elon is working on changing the world. Be like Elon. Seriously, though, Elon Musk is quite an inventor and an entrepreneur. And one of the really notable things about Hyperloop, while it's his idea, he obviously has many things going on and is developing many incredible things these days. But with Hyperloop, he decided to open source it rather than develop it through his own enterprises. So various student competitions have existed, and different companies are working on developing the technology of Hyperloop. Elon describes it as the 5th mode of transportation after cars, trains, planes, and boats. And the vision is broad all across the United States and indeed globally. But in terms of California, one of the initial visions is to have a Hyperloop from San Francisco to LA, and at speeds of over 700 miles an hour. You'd be able to do that commute in 30 minutes, and the goal is to have it be as low as $30 a trip. And initially, the vision's been that it could be done by 2025. Very ambitious, but a lot's already been done in the first couple of years since he described this technology. So Hyperloop at Quay Valley, what are we talking about here? Well, fairly recently, an agreement was signed about a year ago for the first test loop to be built at Quay Valley. They're breaking ground in 2016. This loop will be about a 5-mile loop and will be used eventually to get around the valley, but right now it's a test loop the first time that a full-size Hyperloop project will be built. And a short loop like this, the speed will be about 200 miles an hour. Doesn't have the distance you'd have from San Francisco to LA to get up to the 700 miles an hour. Eventually, the idea is to have the Hyperloop going around Quay Valley to provide some transportation, but also to hook up the Hyperloop at Quay Valley with the big loop from San Francisco to Los Angeles. So since Quay Valley is right in the middle of that, people would very easily be able to get up to San Francisco or down to LA and 15, 20 minutes if it only takes 30 minutes to get the whole distance. It's not inexpensive. We're talking about developing an entirely new form of transportation. If you can imagine, like in the days before planes existed, how crazy it sounded to people that human beings would be put up in this metal tin can and fly all around the world. But it may sound equally crazy idea that people would get inside this tube and zoom along at 700 miles an hour. And it is an expensive technology to develop initially in breaking ground. It's estimated that this test loop alone in Quay Valley will be between $100 and $150 million. And Hyperloop globally, while we're talking about it, just to kind of give some perspective, again, Elon Musk put this idea out there in 2013, and by the end of 2015, there are two companies really neck and neck in development around this idea. There's other people working on it as well. These two companies say they have over 20 different countries interested in the technology. They are currently planning to use magnetic levitation, or maglev technology, to propel the passengers through the depressurized tubes at a speed of up to 700 miles per hour. They're now saying that to build Hyperloop between San Francisco and LA would probably cost somewhere between $6 billion and $16 billion. That's a big range, but there's still a lot of things unknown about this. And of course, if they really get developing it, as you develop technology, the cost of the technology comes down. But it's not a very intrusive type project to develop. As you can see in this photo, the tube is up on pedestals. It can go through land without doing a lot of damage to the land. So it's not the structure itself that's that complicated. It's developing all of the technology. So Quay Valley at present, where are things at with Quay Valley? Well, they're breaking ground for the Hyperloop in 2016. They're also working with the state on rezoning the land as it's formerly been as grazing land, and they're rezoning it for development purposes. They're negotiating with the state about the water requirements. California has requirements for developments about water, how much water has to be available per resident, per house. Quay Valley is advocating and negotiating for a lower amount of water needed per unit, because they are planning to use such efficient water resources and to do water reuse and recycling, and that's a big goal of the project in and of itself, is to be very self-sustaining and as low impact as possible with solar development and water reuse. There's a real drought going on in California, and water is a very, very real issue. So developing more communities like this, where there's alternative ways to reuse and reduce water usage, is critical. But we're also talking about putting a city of 25,000 people in an area where there's very few people living on that 7,500 acres. Really, essentially no one at this moment. This is something that they are working with the state on. They do have access to some water resources. Also, recently, in 2014, Quay won $128.6 million settlement over water rights over an agreed upon sale of water rights to the development that a developer then went and sold to someone else instead while they were under contract. And so there's recently been this big settlement in favor of Quay Valley. And they're also, of course, in the process of securing development funds. Okay, so that's a little bit about Quay Valley and this rural urbanism type project that's going on just in the beginning stages, about halfway between San Francisco and LA in the Central Valley. It'll be interesting over the next 10 or 20 years to see what transpires with it. And hopefully this has been an interesting introduction for you. Thank you.